So as you can imagine, this was overthrown or overborne by the goo. And so I don't understand why it was such a big deal, but as far as the goo was concerned, it was like some sort of big deal. Yeah, I know it was like 2% of everybody who got it died, right? But some of those people were going to die anyway, you know. It's not like they weren't going to die. So, and are you a member of the goo?
I'm an outside source.
Okay. The Greater Overlord organization has not stood behind me, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I am an overlord. I mean, I live in Hillsborough, Kansas. So that, along with being the goo, was pretty important. People say, how did you make it so that the COVID looked like it came from China, like it was a Chinese virus? Well, the reality of it is that was pretty easy. I'm an overlord. You know, the overlords do that kind of thing. And, okay, so I don't feel good about it. I mean, I stepped on the vial, you know. We probably should have had the vials put in a safe place. But, you know, we were moving, you know, and the whole family, and we had didn't have slaves. They were indentured servants. No, they weren't indentured servants. They were contractors. So that's the goo totally did call them. Yes, contractors for what we were doing. And they were the ones who left it out there, too, by the way. So they kind of deserved it, if you really want to know. I take no responsibility whatsoever. I mean, I've wanted to make Hillsborough great again for a long time, and I just can't do this if the goo is coming down on me. I seem to have a lot of goo coming down on me from these guys. So, did you have any other relevant questions you wanted to ask me about?
Okay, tell me more about your day-to-day operations.
Well, what I do is very important, extremely important. I've always said I'm one of the more important people around here. So if you think about that, well, at least I do. When I think about that, I think that, well, what I do must be important. And people should do things for me. On a day-to-day basis, I make sure that people do stuff for me. There's the grape peeling in the morning, because that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And a lot of people say that you shouldn't be milking cats. And I'm telling you, it's the highest protein type of milk you can have for breakfast. So breakfast, again, very important. We have some contractors who, contractors who have very small hands. So you had an important question for me?
Tell me more about your day-to-day operations.
Oh, day-to-day operations. I really am overqualified for this, by the way. That vial thing, we'll talk about that later, but I really am overqualified to have stepped on that vial, too. And frankly, it was another guy. It was Opus Depu. He's a loser, is what he is. He has not been nice to me at all, and he should have been a lot nicer to me, because I have been taking a lot of heat for him when it was really his responsibility. There's a lot of people who don't eat, breakfast. That's you talk about day-to-day operations. I am the overlord. Because I'm the overlord, I have to be at my prime, my peak. Okay, because otherwise things are going to go wrong. Because things don't go wrong when you're at your peak. And that's a lot of times when I'll get a glass of milk, especially because milk has a lot of protein. Not all milk has protein, but cat milk seems to have the most protein. We have some of our contractors that have very small hands. They'll go ahead and fill up about a 5-gallon bucket for my daily needs. So that gets me started, and I don't want to go too much into that. Just suffice it to say that my skin just glows. And that's why when I start my day out, I think of those things that are very, very, very important. Very, very important. Like, what am I going to do that day? What's on HBO is very important. I have to understand that, if I need to release stress, I release stress in that way. So I'll look at the HBO for a couple hours, the guide, and then I'll kind of plan out my day.
Tell me what happens when you get into work.
Okay, so some of the smaller children that are contractors for us will actually roll out a red carpet for me. I don't make them do that. They just appreciate me so much. So they'll roll it out. And as I was walking, they roll it up behind me, which is really kind of cute. Despite the fact that I don't really like them all that much, they do a pretty good job. Let's be honest. But also, when I got in that particular day, I think it was a Friday. I'm pretty sure because that's when the guy died. Okay, so when I got in, that's when the vials were present, and these were bat feces vials. And why they were collecting bat feces? This is Opus Depu's idea. I think it's a joke. I really do. He has to be over the overlords, and I think he thinks bat crap is the thing, right? So anyway, he's got it in there, and so as the children were moving the carpet from under my foot, I accidentally stepped on one of their heads. I can't see all of them; they're so small, and it was his head that actually came in contact with the vial, and I heard the crunch and the sound of bones cracking.
What exactly is your title?
Well, it was Overlord of Flowers when I started, but everybody starts at sort of an underling level, and now I'm Overlord of Udders. And so, and that's how I know so much about cat milk. But the Overlord of Udders, it sounds like I do just that, but I don't. I do a lot of other things. But if there's a question about udders, they come straight to me. I know a lot about them. I can tell you how I just know a lot about them. And so that's my title. However, like I said, I do a lot of other things. It's just expected that an overlord knows everything. And in my situation, even though people don't think I know anything, I know almost everything. I know what people are thinking almost all the time. I know what you're thinking. And frankly, I'm really appreciative that you love me so much. So that's good. But let's get back to Opus Depu. So he calls back, and you know what? He yelled at me. He did. He yelled at me. I don't like that man. He's not nice. I'm an overlord. People don't realize how hard it is to be an overlord. For gosh sakes. So he yelled at me, but I called up the Grand Poobah. Okay, so that's why Opus needs to answer for all of this. He is a bad man. Even though he's kind of a big guy in the Overlord Society, as far as I'm concerned, he can go straight to where the HE double hockey sticks goes. And anyway, you should probably indict him for this and leave me alone. Is what I think. I'm the victim here.
Okay, so what will your takeaway be from this whole incident?
Since the prophets in the Old Testament read the warnings of God and the catastrophes through history, men have been trying to decipher what can we learn from this. I don't think there's a lot to be learned here. Viruses come and go. It's a beautiful song. I like to sing in moments like this. Don't stop me now. I mean, I just don't think there's a lot that I can learn from this experience. I will, however, say one thing on Todd's behalf. I absolutely think it's his fault. I was not involved in aiding and abetting. There's nothing to cover up because I did nothing wrong. However, Todd has been overtly abusing the nipples of cats for who knows how many years. Todd has been taking advantage of people. What's the opposite of an overlord? Todd is a
Underlord?
underwear. I think that's a better. There's not really a good way to put what Todd is, but I think the goo needs to really come down on him. He's really good at smooth talking his way around things, but I'm sure, if you ask him like, "Hey Todd, what did you learn from this?" He would say something like, make sure you finish the 5th gallon of cat milk.
I think the main takeaway of this is that 5 gallons of cat milk can really, really solve a lot of issues for you individually. Now, maybe in the grand pandemic of things, it's not going to solve as much as other things, but as far as individually, on the micro level, cat milk and 5 gallons of cat milk a day, it'll do good for you.
Like I said, I could talk about how much I hate Todd forever. And that has nothing to do with my opinion that we should let him go. I just think the goo needs to come down on him harder. Maybe in the future, hey, what's to say I start to not insert the vials of bat feces in my anus? There's a point there. That might not be the best way to go about transporting these vials. But let me tell you, you watch 1 second of Fox News, there's that one person. That one person that if a virus kills 1 million people and it gets this guy too, it's worth it.
Is that it?
I think that's it.